What is up, world? Welcome to Apocaflix Now, the movie hangout show from Apocaflix Movies. And this is going to be a little bit of a different show today. We are just reviewing some stuff, some content. We're going to be doing a Pixar Soul spoiler review and a full Mandalorian Season 2 spoiler review because we finally got Keith on to join us for that discussion. But before we get to both of those, I want to introduce the crew. I'm, of course, your host, Jacob Bartley, and we have Brian Avalosino here. How's it going, Brian?
Doing well. Can't complain.
Of course, up here hanging up with the cool kids, Gio Ramos. What's going on, Gio?
I hate you, Jake. Just
he's no longer a cool kid, Jacob. What's up?
Oh, nice.
I'm doing good. Window shopping for an iMac, so hopefully I get an upgrade soon. We'll see.
That sounds fantastic. Well, now Keith's up here with the cool kids. What's going on, Keith?
Yes, doing good. Washington football team, division winners at 7-9.
Jesus Christ.
Doesn't matter. We're in.
The worst division I have ever seen.
They should all four football teams should just be canceled.
They tanked. The Philadelphia Eagles tanked, man.
Doesn't matter. We're in. We won. Somebody got to win that division. We won.
Hey, if Alex Smith wins the Super Bowl this year, that would be insane. Especially how far he's come back from that injury. Jake Berlin, how's it going, man?
Two things. One, you say the best for last. Two, that intro is extremely old. That is so pre-quarantine. I cannot believe it. I know we're all sitting together laughing.
The next one's gonna have like all quarantine footage, like solo footage of us.
Yeah.
Hey, but I still like the old intro. It's pretty cool. Alrighty, so I think we should let people know off the top of the show if they have a question, they should go to that link up there at the top, the streamlabs.com link. You can leave us a question anytime, right? And we can address those.
You sure can.
Awesome. So if even if you leave a comment about these movies, we could talk about it on the next show. Either way, we'll get to that. But yeah, let's jump into it. So Pixar Soul was one of the big movies to come out this past Christmas, and it came out alongside Wonder Woman 84, which came out on HBO Max. We already did our very long spoiler review of that, so you can check that out on the channel. So we're here to talk Pixar's Soul, and I think we all enjoyed it from what I've gauged so far, but maybe on varying different levels. So Keith, since you haven't been around lately as much, man, we're glad to have you back. I'm going to throw it to you first, man. Where are your thoughts? I mean, you had it ranked in your top 10, so I'm assuming you liked it a lot.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it, man. So I love jazz. I'm one of those people that I love jazz music. My car is set on Sirius channel 67, which is I think is it called Watercolors or whatever. I don't know. It's the jazz channel on Sirius XM. That's music I grew up listening to. My dad really got me into jazz, so that alone had me when I first heard about this movie. And then of course we were talking about Pixar. We were talking about the animation. It gets better every movie they do. These are the most like real looking people I think they've ever done.
That scene where he's walking down the street, I could not believe.
Right, I know it's great, and it's New York too. Like this is full on. Like it looked like they just went and shot in New York and then just added some couple of animated people in there, man. It's incredible. Gosh, I'd be honest, that blows me away, the animation they do there. But and it's just a lovely story, and I love the lessons that the character, the Jamie Foxx's character, Jamie Foxx, of course, great voice work by him. Love the lessons that he learns, and Tina Fey's soul character in 22, I think it's her name, 22.
Mm-hmm.
Loves the lessons that she learns, and it's just a great, just beautiful story, heartfelt story. Felicia Rashad playing his mom. I love the relationship with him and his mom, and the way that works out, and I just loved it. Just really did. I can't say it enough. It was really great. One of the best Pixar movies I've seen in a while.
Awesome, man. Yeah, Pixar, they did it twice this year. I mean, Onward was really good. Soul is really good or great.
I forgot about Onward, actually. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've had like, there's been a few misses here. Like was it The Good Dinosaur was not great.
Cars 2.
That movie had a lot of it was pushed back a lot, The Good Dinosaur, and then the Cars films, we knew that those were like a passion project of guy who was previously in charge of Pixar. But yeah, so we can just have a full out discussion, guys. Whoever wants to take it. I mean, who had it highest on their list other than Keith?
I did at 3.
Yeah. So Gio, man, what did you love about this movie?
Yeah, like I said, blown away because I knew nothing about this movie, and just it took a quick turn. You know, I thought this would be a movie about some jazz, some soul music, and just the appreciation. But then spoilers, right?
Yeah,
he dies, and what continues to impress me about Pixar is the way they illustrate things that we don't exactly are able to see for ourselves. Like, we feel our emotions, but in Inside Out, they showed us, and we got a visual representation of how that could work. In this movie, The Afterlife, it's just the way his little ghost figure just looks up, and he's just like, oh my God. And it just, everybody going into the afterlife, it's just so beautiful, but also a little, it can be a little frightening, and this movie definitely got a little heavy in some places, but then you get and that's Pixar for you. That they do it so well.
Yeah, I heard there were parents that were like saying they won't let their kids watch this because it's too
understandable.
Dark.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a soft.
Not that it's dark, but it deals with death. Like the main character
just dealing with death, exactly.
Dies in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, but of course, it being a Pixar movie, it goes back to being fun. Jamie Foxx becomes a cat, and Tina Fey becomes Jamie Foxx, and I like how that works. It's the roles are kind of reversed. Like body swap. Which is a common thing in movies these days. But it's just a lot of fun. And the music, it's there. The guys who did The Social Network, Trent Reznor
and Atticus Ross,
so incredible.
Yes.
They also did Watchmen. Music is incredible. A lot of powerful messages, and by the end of the movie, I mean, you just want to turn off your TV. You don't even want to spend another second of your life watching TV. You want to go outside and do something, which you can't really do much,
But don't fall in a drain.
Yeah, don't fall in a drain. Watch where you're going.
Pay attention.
Don't text and walk.
He was on his phone, right?
Yeah.
That was Pixar telling us, like, stay off your phones when you're walking in the streets.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a lot of messages in here, but I really enjoyed it. I cannot wait to revisit it again. So
yeah, it's definitely one of those. Well, you guys know I loved Inside Out, and not that it's the same thing at all. It's completely different, but it's like that similar type of idea where they're showing us something beyond our understanding, like Gio mentioned. So I thought that was great. Jake, how about you, man? How did you feel about this film?
Yeah, I think I watched it after all of us did. I think I was the last one to watch it. I just watched it recently, and I was really looking forward to it. It was kind of touted as like Pixar's genius, and this was the movie that was gonna get them another Oscar, and it was kind of going to be the best animated film of the year, and it was going to be the talk of one of the best films of the year in general. And I think it does live up to that. I don't think it's the best film of the year. That's just my opinion. We talked about these movies on Tuesday's show, and it was on my list, but it wasn't up near the top. But it was mentioned. I do think that this is a pure adult film. I don't think this is a kid movie at all. I think, and that's a good thing. And that's not a bad thing at all for Pixar. Pixar is obviously they're put out there as a kid studio. They put out movies like Cars and Monsters Inc. and Toy Story and all these films that are very kid heavy. But that doesn't mean that one, Pixar can't do adult, and that two, animation can't be adult. You don't have to have vulgarity and all of this violent stuff for the animation to be adult. You can be adult through its themes, through its story, through certain things that are happening. And even though they go to this like afterlife or the great beginning or the great before is what they call it, the great before, it's still very adult. And that's what I appreciate about it so much. Pixar took a chance. They took a big chance. They swung for the fences on doing this type of film. And it really paid off. And it really does frustrate me. And there's nothing we can do about it. it does frustrate me that I couldn't see this in theaters.
Yeah,
It really does
Yeah, I
because
agree.
Yeah.
the music is fantastic. The visuals are incredible. And I know that I would have appreciated it even more so in a theater than I did on the screen.
Yeah, for sure. Brian, I don't think I've heard your thoughts about it at all, man.
No, I liked it. I thought it was great. It was definitely not a kid movie. Part of me wants to kick back a little bit on what Jake said about it being in the movie theater. I think it kind of probably turned out for the better for them to have it on Disney Plus. I think it was more
You mean box office wise?
probably, yeah. And watchability, I want to say, for people.
Oh, it's definitely a heavy movie. Yeah.
I just can't get over how amazing everything looked from, the detail to like the barber shop cutting their hair. Like,
Yes.
I love that barbershop scene.
That was my favorite. Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
it's incredible. Like I was looking at a thing of Disney when they dropped, or Pixar when they dropped Toy Story 1, and Andy's friends all
Oh,
come
the same
over,
thing.
and
Yeah.
it's all the same Andys, and now we're literally seeing the curl of each hair, and it's just it blows my mind where we came from. I actually loved the supporting characters in this. My favorite characters out of this whole thing was Moonwind, the like hippy dippy like pirate captain.
Oh,
whatever
yeah,
you wanna
yeah.
call him.
The street sign guy.
Yeah. And I love the Jerrys. The Jerrys killed me. They're so. I just love how they're just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
The
Sure.
Terry was kind of creepy, but it worked though. Like,
Yeah, and it's.
The
I mean,
accountant.
yeah, it just. There was definitely adult things. It's kind of funny because like every single time they showed the afterlife, you had this like like dreary, scary sounding music. But it was really well done, and I just can't get over how amazing everything looked, and the sounds, and it was just I visually I was just like, wow, like this is incredible. Like, and again, I'm gonna say it again, that barbershop scene is it's just visually it's one of the greatest animated things I think I've ever seen visually.
Yeah, it definitely looks great. I love this movie. Like, it's funny because you know that Pixar is going to try to like hit you in the feels, right? But you're like, how are they going to do it this time? And when I was watching this movie, I was really enjoying it, and I love how we get to see, the place in between the afterlife and, before, the souls go to Earth and all that stuff, and finding your patches and all that. I love all that kind of stuff, the creative side of that. But then, like, when they go back to Earth and he goes into the cat, she goes into him, I'm like, oh, this is kind of gimmicky, I thought at first. But then then once they show that she had to live in his body to see what it felt like to live, because she's been around for thousands of years.
She's literally number 22.
Yeah, when they're on, like, I don't even know what number they said they were on.
Yeah.
And so I love how she was mentored by like all these historical figures, and how they all were like telling her that she sucks or whatever. And then basically like the message of the movie is like not finding something for you to do in life. It's just living. Like, the purpose of life, everyone's purpose is to just experience life.
Right.
And I'm like, damn, come on, Pixar, why you got to do that? And like that, it kind of got me like, I teared up during Onward for personal reasons, but like even that Soul at the end got me a little like choked up a little bit too.
Yeah.
Just because it was like, damn, they kind of try to make you feel bad about yourself sometimes, because they're like, you're right, Pixar, I do need to enjoy life more and stop complaining about things that, you know, I shouldn't be complaining about, So I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I loved the the Terry character, man, that was hilarious. When he went to Earth and he was trying to track them down. But I was like thinking, if I was a kid watching this, I would be terrified of that. And the way the music plays when he's around and when he goes to Earth and it's all like he's creeping around, I thought that was awesome.
Keith, has Sophia watched it?
No, they didn't watch it. Emma's the only one that watched it with me, which is surprising. Yeah, so I got to get them to sit down and watch it. They were kind of in and out. The others, teenagers looking at their phones or whatever. But so yeah, they were. I got to get them to sit down and watch the whole thing, start to finish. Yeah, you
gotta have a no phone during movie rule. Man.
Yes, absolutely. I need to get that. Well, Charlize sat down and watched Extraction with me last night, so
nice.
She sat and watched the whole thing. So that was that's a win there, I guess. But excuse me. Yeah, you combine this, and I mean, Jacob, this is probably just you're the only one I think that watched this, but you combine this with The Good Place, which, like I said, and we talked about that. Well, we haven't talked about the finale, but I watched that finale a couple months ago, and there's some similar stuff going on with the way that show, goes towards the end, and stuff. Stuff about purpose and about just about it's obviously afterlife stuff, and even your purpose in the afterlife as well. Just very poignant, very. It really spoke to me as well. I was thinking about it like that whole day. I watched it early on the 26th, and it stayed with me, man. This one that stayed with me.
Yeah. So I really love this film, but like I think there's something that like I thought it maybe I don't know. It could have been better, obviously, right? Because it could have been where we're all saying, "Oh my goodness, it's the best movie of the year." So, is there anything that prevented it from being that for you guys, like the best movie of the year, or up in that conversation? Or a lot of us had Onward above it. So, what prevented it from being as good as it could have been? Do you guys think?
Yeah, I have a negative.
Go ahead, Gio.
Oh, Keith or Brian.
No, go ahead. I was gonna kind of pull one out of my, but
all right.
Doing that a lot today, Brian.
Yeah, lots of stuff coming out.
This movie, and this is kind of a nitpick, okay? But this movie is so smart. It's so well done.
It's too good. It's too smart.
But the spoiler, right? The very end. You mean to tell me that all you're going to do is tap that accountant guy on the shoulder to turn him around, and then you're going to secretly do that, and then that fixes the count and everything? This is the same guy who earlier in the movie went through hundreds of thousands of cabinets, file drawers, and millions of files, and he's not going to catch that. Like, everything goes back to normal. That was a little bit of a for me. I just felt like they kind of did that very quickly. It
was funny though.
Just to get it going. That's like the rat in Endgame. The rat stepping on the thing.
Yeah. But again, it's a nitpick. But I'm just like, I was like, I don't know about that. But other than that, I don't have too many problems with this movie. I don't have too many complaints. I mean, this is Pixar going into their third decade now, right? Third decade or fourth decade?
Oh, yeah.
Of making
they were at the very end of the 90s.
Yeah.
And then,
just incredible storytelling. And I'm just, again, I'm going to say I'm blown away. I'm wowed by it. And especially as an adult. Watching this movie as a kid, it was just, and who knows if we saw this movie as kids, how we would feel about it as adults. Would it be that much better? I don't know.
Yeah, I think Jake's right. Like, when I was 10, I wouldn't have been like, oh my goodness, this is so deep. I would have just been focused on the visuals and things like that. So I do think this movie was made for adults, like the whole story and the concept and everything. And my negative kind of ties into yours, Gio. It's like, look, I knew there was no way they were going to let his character die, like go to the afterlife officially. But I felt like it was just like out of nowhere. Oh, we're going to give you another chance. There you go. And I think they should have just found a different mechanism to get him back to Earth somehow. I don't know what it could have been, but that felt kind of rushed to me, where everything else was like perfectly timed and calculated, and then him getting back to Earth was kind of rushed for me a little bit.
Oh, they could have easily just said, "Hey, now it's just your time. That's it. It's just your time." And
That's kind of what I was thinking.
they did that in Up.
I thought they were going to do that.
So they could have easily went that route. I'm personally glad they didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to say I'm getting up there in age, but like I always, like
I'll get out of here.
Man.
Well, his character's not even that old. What was his character, like 38 or something? I don't know.
Probably. His mom said middle aged.
Yeah.
So 40? Yeah.
Around there. Yeah, that would have been rough though if they ended it. Well, the thing is, he learned something in this movie, right? He learned that he doesn't need to just focus on becoming a jazz player. Like that's all he's obsessed with, and that's it. He doesn't even care about anything else going around him. So he wouldn't have been able to appreciate what he learned if he just died, So
and he experienced that. Sorry,
Yeah.
he experienced that. He experienced being a jazz player and playing that night.
That's true.
Afterwards, everybody left. Everybody went home, and during that time, he was God, what do they call it? In the zone, where you kind of leave your body, and he experienced that. But at the end, he still felt this void, and that again, an important message. That this one thing can't be your life. Like we all have most of us have day jobs and side hustles and this and that, and then we have this, and it's just it's the things we do that really I don't know, like make us experience life. It's not just one thing, because then once you get that one thing, then what? Life goes on, life continues. So
right.
Wait, this isn't your side hustle. This is mine. Jake's not paying you guys.
What?
I'm kidding.
What about you, Jake? Did you have any other thoughts? Not necessarily negative, but any other thoughts on the film at all?
I don't really think that I have any negatives per se. It just, I liked everything that happened in the movie. I think that it was really well written. I think that the visuals were insane, and I was sorry for me not speaking up too much, but I was pulling images because I wanted to find this one specifically. But this blows me away.
Yeah.
This blows me away that this movie actually looks like this.
Look at that woman's afro.
Just look at how real everything
Insane.
Looks. They look like miniature figures that are in our real lives. It doesn't look like animation. Everything looks spot on compared to everything else around it.
The lighting is beautiful. Yeah,
it's brilliant. No, I don't think I really have any negatives. Obviously we can nitpick things, but the simplest way I can put it is that maybe it just didn't hit me as well as it did other people. And I still love the movie. I think it's brilliant. Like I said, it's in my top 10 of the year at the back end, but I don't think it hit me as well as it did the people who have it at its 5, its 3s, its 1s of the world.
Yeah, and movies hit us all differently. So
exactly, but I think that this is definitely a game changer for Pixar for what they're capable of doing. We've seen them for a long time really dominate the kid genre, right, with the Toy Stories and the Monsters Inc. and the Finding Nemos and those other films, but they have never really stepped in the realm of adult themed movies. Like they have flashes of it in their movies. And it's been happening recently a lot with a lot of
Coco had death in it, like dealing with
Coco, Inside Out as well.
Yeah.
There's flashes of it in these movies, but this is really like the first movie that is pure adult movie. It is a thematic film that is purely dedicated to the adult, the adults of the world, the adults of the world. And so I really do think that this is kind of like a major stepping stone for them. Whether or not they continue it, I don't know, because we know they have a lot of big movies coming up. I know Raya and The Last Dragon is coming up, and I don't necessarily know if that's going to be an adult film, but this could be a giant stepping stone for this company as far as filmmaking goes. And we could end up seeing a lot more of this type of movie here in the future.
Yeah, I mean, they could make. I mean, this was kind of it already, but they could make a movie that is not even like for kids at all. Like, not that it's never gonna. They're never gonna have cursing or all and like vulgar stuff like that. But they can make more movies like this where it's like just more adult themed, and they could be. I mean, who knows? Like this year, even if like this could get nominated for an Oscar this year, but then everyone's gonna be like, oh, that was in 2020 when there weren't that many movies, but it still could have been in the consideration even in a regular year. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. So I know we're going to talk Mandalorian here. So does anybody have any last thoughts on Soul before we move on?
Well, my last thought would be a question, but if anybody else wants to speak their last thoughts on Soul, but mine is a Pixar question for you guys. So
I would say for me, you guys asked why it's not higher on my list. Probably for me, and it's nothing against the movie really. It's more me. I'm just not I don't like thinking about that type of subject matter, and it's not an easy thing to talk about. So I mean, it just I think that might have been the reason why. But other than that, like the movie's great. There's no denying that at all. I just that.
I thought that was so cool how like when everyone was in the zone of their passion or whatever, that they would like travel to this world or that was cool.
It just like that is freaking
dude. Gorgeous. The barber was awesome and he looks great
listen, I grew up in one of those barbershops. Like that was spot on. Like I loved every moment of that. I really did. And I love, but
it's just so visually gorgeous.
Oh, so crisp.
Look at the detail on the saxophone.
Yeah.
Literally,
like the saxophone looks just straight up real. Like it doesn't even look animated at all.
I mean, look at her hair. You can see literal single strands.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible.
Angela Bassett too, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Angela Bassett voice. That was great.
I
love that scene. I'm sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say for me, I think it's just more of the subject matter. You know, I mean, it's not an easy thing to listen to or talk about, and but I don't want that to make people feel like it's not a good movie because that's not the case. It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, and that's fair to say because I could totally see that. Like I love those concepts. Like it's kind of like The Good Place, Keith, like we talked about. I don't know why, I just love thinking about that kind of stuff. And sometimes it is like uncomfortable, but it's cool to explore that kind of thing, especially in film.
Well, like I said, it makes you want to get up and go, call someone you haven't talked to in a while or get out and just do something, instead of just sitting down looking at your phone or watch TV or playing games or whatever. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's true. But,
well, they didn't know we were going to be in a freaking pandemic when they made this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's and especially after the loss. And Brian, I mean, I definitely understand because especially after all the loss we've had this year, obviously, all the lives of everyone of this illness, but just all the like famous people that meant so much to us that we lost. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That scene at the beginning when it's so harrowing because it's just like that. Like he's walking and all of a sudden you're just like, whoa. And I would imagine that's probably what it's like. You just, if you don't see it coming, you're just like, wait, what just happened? So yeah, but Gio, you touched on it just super fast. I know we got to move on, but you mentioned the scene. That's probably my favorite scene in the movie where he's in the zone, which was beautiful. And then when he's done and everybody leaves and it wasn't like he got everything he thought he wanted and it just wasn't what he thought, and I love that lesson is just he had to realize to just appreciate what he has. He realized like the moment when he's teaching the little girl about jazz and like that itself, just teaching, just sharing that passion with somebody else and inspiring others. It's something that is just reading something about Kobe Bryant. He talked about that all the time. Just being an inspiration to other people and sharing that passion. And once you find that passion, you're there, you got it, and especially, and then when you start inspiring others, and I think that was I just love that lesson. I really did. I love it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think Soul is a win for all of us, to be honest. We all liked it to loved it. And man, it's Pixar. Like from now on, I don't think they're ever going to make a bad movie. Like I think every Pixar movie from now on is going to be great, to be honest. How could it not
They
be?
definitely get the benefit of the doubt, man. It's,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, well, let's move on to our Mandalorian Season 2 discussion. And, I mean, let's just open the floodgates and talk whatever we want.
Dun, 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 dun,
End of the season. Yeah. I mean, we talked, all four of us, other than Keith, talked about it on the Fandalorian Club. So I want to go to Keith first, man. You can talk about anything you want, but if you shared your experience of the season finale with us, if you don't mind.
Okay, definitely, because it's a thing. I'll tell you, I got a little story for that.
He's gonna shit on it, Jacob. Why'd you let him do this?
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Have you guys heard his thoughts yet?
No, but it's Keith.
What's that mean? Get out of here. You know what? I will say this. I wasn't
Oh,
totally.
I forgot
surprised.
Keith hates Star Wars. What?
Yeah, that's
Because,
right.
is that the thing? Is that not? Yeah, Star Wars. I saw Return of the Jedi in the theater. I saw it.
What does that mean?
You also saw Rise of Skywalker in the theater.
I saw Mad
Yeah,
Max
no.
Fury Road in the theater. Come on.
Big dipping. No, yeah. So Mandalorian. I woke up that morning, like I did every Friday. Like, I just get up my phone, look at Twitter, just see what's going on in the world, and I saw Luke Skywalker trending.
Oh my God! You gotta stay off your phone, man.
But here's the thing: I didn't think about it because I forget, because every week I forget that the Mandalorian's on. So I didn't think about it until I went to work. I just went about my day. I just went, oh, that's odd. Luke Skywalker trending. I went about my day. I was on my break at work, and I was just thinking about, all right, it's Friday. What am I gonna do tonight? Oh, that's right, the Mandalorian's on. Oh. Oh. So then I thought, well, I don't know for sure if that's what it is, but I remember it also. The same thing happened last year, right before Rise of Skywalker. I just woke up in the morning, checked my phone. Oh, Ben Solo's trending. That's weird. And then, all right, hey guys, you ready to go see the movie tonight? We're gonna go. Oh wait, that hit me. Oh, so I was like, God. So, but I wasn't totally surprised because after the Ahsoka episode, when she mentioned, okay, maybe somebody will reach out in the Force today, I said that to the girls. I'm like, oh, it's Luke Skywalker. Like, I was like, who else would it be? Like, I was hearing people online were like, Mace Windu or Ezra. It's not gonna be
now that we think about it, Luke Skywalker makes complete sense. We just never thought
yeah.
they would do it, you know?
I was fully like, I think when we talked about the finale last year, I think one of us, it might have been me, I didn't watch it, but I think we didn't rule out that he could be on the show. Surely one of us, the five of us, somebody must have said that at some point. Like he could be on the show at some point because it's perfect. I mean, it makes sense, you know. We didn't really, I guess, know that we'd actually see Jedi in the show, but if they did, it would be him, you know. But so yeah. I think I mentioned on one episode of Now, the Ahsoka episode was really great. I love that one. But yeah, so I started watching the show and I had it back in the back of my head. I got and then
Nice.
and
awesome.
He's got both the real Ahsoka lightsaber.
Oh, yeah, they're sitting over there.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I get that one. I love that sound of her lightsaber. That was really cool. But so I start the episode right as I come in from work, take a shower. All right, girls, we're gonna sit down. We're gonna watch Mandalorian. Sophia goes, oh, and I went, what? Like, why are you looking at your phone? She's like, I just had. I told her don't say anything, and then she told me later somebody posted on Instagram. It was so great to see Luke Skywalker.
Oh,
no.
That's very cool. The curve's got the curve. Yeah, both of them. Are they both different? Are they both different length?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
One's smaller. Yeah.
Oh, I never knew that. I never noticed that before.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
They're the size of a human forearm.
Those are huge.
Right.
I'm not even kidding. Jake, hold the big one up to your forearm.
Jeez.
wow.
Keith, well, your story is the reason why most of us were watching it at midnight every night on Thursday night.
Yeah,
100%.
exactly. If I did, yeah, right. I would have watched it the night before if I'd known that. But like I said, it wasn't a total surprise. So I just, by the time it got to, as soon as that X-wing came creeping around, I went, that's Red 5. I knew right away, like that's him.
Yup.
So, and then for a split second, I thought maybe it was that one guy from the Spider episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I thought that for 1 second. I was like, but what is he gonna do? Nothing.
Right. Yeah, right.
Nobody else would have been able to do anything. So
exactly. No, but then it's just right away. That's Luke. That's definitely Luke. And we all 5 of us were down here watching. We all perked up. It was really cool. So yeah, it was awesome. You know, for people who for people who wanted to see that from Luke Skywalker, you got it. You know, like I thought it was. It definitely, you know, fulfilled that void that, you know, we're kind of missing, seeing Luke actually do so. Obviously, it's younger Luke, of course, which I thought. I was curious that were they gonna actually show him, right? I thought it was better looking than Tarkin, but also it was kind of.
Who cares?
When he would talk, it was like it looked good until he started talking. It was kind of like that Will Smith movie where it's young Will Smith. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Keith, I need to ask you something real quick.
Okay.
How could you not like this?
Well, who doesn't?
Like, come on.
Awesome.
Come on.
I'm gonna go rewatch this right now.
Just look at this. Just look at this. Are you kidding me?
Like,
great.
To know that that's Luke. Like we had to see this from Luke before it was all said and done. I think.
Keith, would you have rather had Sebastian Stan do it or do what they did?
Right? That's exactly what I was going to say. When he's turned, he ready to take it off, and I was like, "What if?" Oh man, I said out loud, "Sebastian Stan is Luke Skywalker. It's going to be." And then it kind of, I couldn't tell for a second.
It's insane.
And then I was like, "Oh no, that's Mark Hamill." But I thought that for a second. I really was like, "Wow, if they really do that, like that would be."
I don't think it would have the same effect.
And it's a great explanation. The only reason why it's not Sebastian Stan is because we'll never see Luke Skywalker again.
Agreed.
Probably not. I don't want to say never, but probably not. Yeah.
Well, I think either way it was the right move because it wouldn't have had the same effect. And like we would have known right away if it doesn't even have to be Sebastian Stan. We don't know if they're going to cast him or not, but it could have been any actor and they could have made him look like Luke, right? Cut his hair, dyed his hair, whatever. And we would have known, but I feel like it was just better to do this one moment with Mark Hamill, with the CGI and all that. It worked better. Even though, look, we all know it doesn't look great, like the work.
I was so wrapped up that we just saw Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. Yeah. I don't give a.
It's not about the way the CGI looked. It's about the moment of him busting through that.
I could elevator. Give a massive rat's ass about what he looks like. We just saw Luke motherfucking Skywalker wreck shop as Jedi Master Luke.
And that's the thing. Like in the moment, I didn't care. I wasn't even worried about it. Like I was just like, oh my God, we just saw Luke do what we wanted to see him do for so long.
After seeing, and I definitely want to get Keith's thoughts on this. It's like really cool because we're like reliving our Mandalorian days with Keith here. But after getting Boba Fett back, after getting Ahsoka, after getting Bo-Katan, we get Luke Skywalker too. It's just like, are you serious? Like, you guys actually went there?
They gave us all the goodies.
I think I was watching. I was trying to watch y'all's your episode Mandalorian. I was at work, so I only got to about half of it. I think Gio, I totally agreed. I think you and I are on the same page where it's a pretty good episode. I think you said with a great moment. With like a great ending or something like that, you said. I think I feel that way. I think the best episode for me of the season. I think I initially said it was. First, I said it was the Bo-Katan.
Well, I was going to ask everybody that. I was going to say, what is your favorite episode other than the finale? So everybody start thinking about that.
We all say it at 3.
We'll go to Keith first. What is it, everybody
Well,
has the
mine is-
same favorite episode other than the finale? I don't think so.
Well, mine's the previous one, the Bill Burr episode.
Brian, you're muted.
I think that's no.
I
I think that's the best. Yeah, that Bill Burr one. I think that's the best one of the season. Because for me, absolutely, I thought it
The
was
Believer?
brilliantly done. What's it called?
The Believer.
Believer. Okay, yeah, the Believer. Yeah, I loved. I thought that was brilliant. Because you get the show. It's a great show. Obviously, it's the all the Western stuff. You got all that, but a lot of it is just him showing up and he gets the job. He does a job, and there's this one obstacle. Somebody gets in his way. His showdown with one person, and then he leaves. Or the kid, the child gets in trouble or whatever. He's got to go get the kid, or he's got to go get a thing from another place or whatever. This one, and it does a good job of giving you a backstory. This one, you get some real backstory with Bill Burr's character, but without really it's a real subtle way of giving you some history with him and why he did what he did, where he came from, how he actually feels. And I mean, that's when he's sitting down having that conversation with Joe Chill from Batman Begins, like that.
Oh yeah,
that's Joe Chill. Yeah. Man, that scene. That's one of the best scenes of this in the 2 seasons of this show, because you can just see it building it. He's building up, and the way that Mandalorian, Oscar. Oh my gosh.
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. Geez, sorry. Yeah, the way you can see him looking at him like he knows what's going to happen. He's like, please don't, and you can just see it building. And Bill Burr, I'm going to shoot this guy right.
Yeah, that was one of the best scenes of the season. I think.
Yeah,
for sure.
I love that episode. I think that's the best one.
He gives him a look like, just so you know, this guy's gonna die in 5 seconds.
So I don't think
Pedro
it's
does a
that
great
easy
job.
to choose your favorite episode other than the finale. Now that I'm looking at, there's 3 of them that are contenders. So I'm curious to hear what everybody says. But I want to go to Jake. I want to go to Jake first. And I mean, I'm assuming it's one episode, but I don't know if he's going to shock me or not.
I'm going to shock you because it's not the Ahsoka episode. The Ahsoka episode has the best moments of the season, and that's just coming from me because you guys know how I feel about Ahsoka Tano, how they weaved her story into this, and how they made her important for this story, the reveal of Grogu and where he came from. The moments and the revelations in the episode were the best the season had to offer. But the single best episode of the season,
I know where he's going,
is solely based on the fact that this series is it's the only reason why I want this series to exist. It's the only reason why I think this series is so popular. It's episode 3 because it's solely focused on the Mandalorians. I want more Mandalorians. They are my favorite group of Star Wars. I love the Jedi. I love the Force. I love it. But the Mandalorians are my favorite group of Star Wars, and the Mandalorian is letting everyone know what this group is really capable of. The mythology behind them, the history behind them, the way they operate together. They're very, very different from any other Star Wars people in the galaxy, period. And this episode was very much like that kind of tip of the iceberg factor for that throughout this season and leading into what's going to happen next. Also, the fact that they successfully brought fucking Bo-Katan into The Mandalorian with Katie Sackhoff playing her also plays a huge part in that because of how much I enjoy Clone Wars, how much I enjoy the character of Bo-Katan, and how far she has come as a character.
Sackhoff.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable what they were able to do. Also, Bryce Dallas Howard directing that episode is mind-blowing. She is an incredible director. She is. It's insane what she's able to do as a director.
She put an Argyle sweater on a Mon Calamari.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. And just everything about that episode, if you watch it frame by frame or just scene by scene, you pick up things. If you know what you're looking at, you recognize what's happening with the Mandalorians, the dialogue that's taking place, the actions that are taking place, not just the action, but the actions that are taking place between the characters. It's unbelievable. Also, a great cameo by Titus Welliver. Like, are you kidding me? Duh. Like,
Yeah, so
absolutely duh.
if you didn't choose the Ahsoka episode, it was either between the Heiress or the Tragedy. And I knew it was going to be one of those or the Ahsoka episode. So, Gio, I'm going to go to you. What is your...
The Tragedy is a close second because
I'm not including the season finale because it's not fair. Luke Skywalker showed up. It's not fair. But, Gio, other than the season finale, what is your favorite episode?
For me, it's the Ahsoka episode. Okay, it's the whole Western style of it, the opening sequence of Ahsoka using her
Western.
lightsaber.
You mean samurai?
Samurai. Sorry, my bad.
I was gonna say, bro, what are you talking about?
Bro, I'm tired. Okay. Anyway, it's been a big day. It's been a long day. But yeah, just the opening sequence of Ahsoka using her lightsabers in the fog and disappearing, just moving away that I've always imagined Jedi moving. Not always twirling and dancing and whatnot. And just the end finale of her and Thrawn's student facing off and
Magistrate.
Yes, thank you. That whole episode and the fact that Dave Filoni directed it's so impressive.
Oh yeah,
he's not just a visionary, but he can also direct as well. So for me, that one takes the cake if we're not including the Luke Skywalker episode.
Yeah. How about you, Brian?
Same. I mean,
is it just that Ahsoka was there, or was there other things that you liked about the episode, or the way they used Ahsoka?
Jake knows how I reacted when they dropped Thrawn's name.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
I lost my mind. Jake, you didn't pick this episode. You don't get to put your favorite parts up.
Brian,
I'm the resident Ahsoka Tano fan. Fuck off.
Do you want Mickelson, or what's his name? The guy who does his voice. Do you want him to play him?
Lars Mikkelsen, yes.
Or do you want somebody else? Do you have another choice?
I think I'd just rather have him. Just because his voice, I don't know if I could hear anyone else.
He doesn't have the look either. I mean, he's going to be in makeup and shit.
Yeah,
too,
they're going to prosthetic the crap out of him if they need to. And I mean, whatever. But I just need honestly, the things I'm going to look for the most if and when they do him in live action is his mannerisms and how he talks. Those are the only two things I really care about because he is very specific.
The voice is big.
Yeah, the way he talks is very specific, and how he acts is very specific, and they are different than anyone else in Star Wars.
You got nothing to worry about, Ryan.
I hope so.
Dave Filoni's involved. You got nothing to worry about.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see Laura said that there was a thing today? Someone put out we got this covered.
Effing idiots.
Was it we got this covered?
No, I don't know who it was, but they're effing idiots for saying this.
What they say.
Someone put that Robert Downey Jr. was going to be Thrawn.
Oh hell no.
Yeah.
No.
We Got This Covered is one of the worst.
They're just below Screen Rant. They're just below Screen Rant.
Jake,
so
I used to
my favorite episode, other than the season finale, it's very close. It's between episode 1, The Marshal, which I still love.
Oh my god, Covenant!
Yeah. And then, but I gotta go with the Tragedy because Boba Fett is a badass motherfucker in this episode.
Dad bought Boba for the win.
I told you guys when we reviewed this episode, I said before this season of Mandalorian, Boba Fett was under my top 25 characters in Star Wars. He just didn't do enough for me in canon so far. But now he's in my top 15. I love Boba Fett in this season. When he comes out in the armor for the first time and he's wrecking shop, oh my God. I'm so, and then that end credit scene is the most badass thing ever when they're sitting on that, when he kills Bib Fortuna and they're sitting on that throne. And the way, what is her name? The character name?
Fennec Shan.
Is sitting next to him and drinking the stuff is so crazy. But the Tragedy, completely, made me a huge Boba Fett fan. And that alone is just crazy. But, I mean, obviously, Luke takes the cake all day. So one big thing for me, though, if Luke never showed up, and regardless of Luke and Grogu, taking them out of the picture, I think everybody would be talking more about Din getting the Darksaber, defeating Moff Gideon, getting the Darksaber, and now there's a conflict. I don't think him and Bo-Katan are going to fight because he won't fight her. He'll just yield. But I think now that I don't know if it's been confirmed, but I think Mandalore is still occupied by ex-Imperials. I'm guessing.
It's never been confirmed.
But I'm guessing that's the case.
So I'm gonna throw a little.
Well, what I was saying is, I think now they're gonna have to work together, and now she has to accept. Like, she's gonna force him to now have to be the leader.
I really hope what I feel like Jake's about to say doesn't happen.
So here's what's gonna happen. They're gonna fight, but it's not gonna be a fight. It's gonna be more so Din defending himself against her. It's going to be, and this is the best analogy I can make because I just watched it, but it's going to be very Johnny Robbie and Cobra Kai, where he was defending himself against his son who was fighting him. So
yeah, because if somebody tries to fight you, you're going to try to protect yourself.
So he's going to be protecting himself while she's trying to fight him for this. But yes, I agree. I do think that because the history of Bo-Katan is very violent. It's very one-noted. No, how much we love the character is very one-noted. She seeks this power. To put a twist on that, she works with someone who is above her and helps him because she's going to realize, like she said in episode 3, we Mandalorians are stronger together. She is going to realize that while fighting, while something happens, there's going to be something that happens to make her realize, yes, we need to work together. Now, to your point, Jacob, about Imperial forces or the spinoff of the Empire holding down Mandalore, I am heavily buying into the theory that it's not just Imperial forces, but that Thrawn is in fact holding down Mandalore.
Oh.
I am heavily buying this idea that Thrawn is actually holding down Mandalore right now, and that Moff Gideon was actually working for him.
That's possible because, they said Rangers of the New Republic, Ahsoka, and the Mandalorian are all going to cross over to some big event, and it could be taking back Mandalore from Thrawn.
I have a feeling that Moff Gideon may not have known who he was working for, but that he was working for someone to bring the Empire back, and that they didn't know at the time. But like you said, Ahsoka and Din's paths were more connected than they actually realized. And that this big cataclysmic event isn't just going to be for the fight of Mandalore, but it's also going to be for the fight of the remnant of the Empire. And they're going to finally wipe them out for good in this show, and then eventually coming back for the First Order years down the road.
The Empire is still heavily around right now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Jon Favreau did say, he didn't say this is going to become Game of Thrones, but he said it's going to be more like Game of Thrones where it's focusing on other characters and not just Din and Grogu. I think putting Grogu aside for now was a smart move so they can focus on all this stuff. I think we're heading down a big epic huge battle for Mandalore.
The one thing that I can say, and I've said this from the beginning, but the show has been strictly going to, it's always been destined to go to Mandalore. That's the idea of the show, because we also have to keep in mind that the Armorer story isn't done yet. That story is not done. Those are Mandalorians. We learn more about them this year. But the show has been strictly dedicated to focusing on this Mandalorian core. Din can't go into battle holding Grogu with one arm. He can't. He can't leave him behind in the ship.
And he's not old enough to protect himself yet.
Well, yeah, but one, the ship's not gone. Two, who he wants to protect him needs to be with him in battle.
Mm-hmm.
And so you needed something to make Grogu go away. And whether or not you agree with it being Luke Skywalker, it was the only and most viable option that could have been made.
You had to get rid of the Yoda.
Yeah, exactly. You had to make the move to move the story forward. You had to. Yeah. This chapter is over, and now Din goes into this larger scale thing where he's going to really find out what it means to be a Mandalorian. He's been slowly learning about it in the first 2 seasons, but now it's balls to the wall. We're going all in on Mandalore. 100%. Now that Grogu is gone, the Force is gone from the show at the time being, and it's going all in on the Mandalorians. Mandalorian Civil War is happening again.
They tapped
possibly.
into. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say Grogu. We haven't seen the last of Grogu. I guarantee you that 100,000%.
Oh, I think we have.
I agree with Keith.
No, we have not. You
I
guys
agree with Keith.
are crazy. You think Disney would allow them to not have
I think
Grogu in
he'll
the show
come back.
again? You guys are crazy.
Unless they want to show us the scene.
Dude, he
of
literally
him-
said,
him-
"I promise I will see you again."
Yeah, I
What?
think he'll
you
come
don't
back
write that line.
That could be the very last episode of the series.
Maybe, and I think what's going to happen, I've settled on, because everybody keeps talking about, oh, Grogu was killed by Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren. No, that didn't happen.
How do you know that?
Goes
Why not?
back after they take back Mandalore and the Mandalorian story wraps up. Grogu's going to go back to Din. I
Hold
think.
on. Why wouldn't Kylo Ren have killed him? Why not?
Because they're not going to
Keith,
do that.
Yeah, Keith, they wouldn't make the move knowing that.
Like even if
Oh,
they're
we're
not going
gonna
to
see it.
I know, but they're not going to make that be, oh, that's what happened to Grogu. No, they're not going to do that. I don't think he stays with Luke for very long. Like, I don't think he stays with Luke by the time he starts training Ben Solo. Like, I think Grogu's gone by then, way before then.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
See.
But
Gio, you're awfully quiet.
I don't know. I'm just listening in and weighing the pros and cons in my head of.
well, I want to hear,
days or
your thoughts on that, Gio, and then like where you see everything going from here.
Well, I agree with you guys. I think it's going to be all of them coming together for one final battle. I mean, that's already been confirmed, so there's no question. Is Grogu really going to survive to Jedi?
He's not a part of that.
massacres?
He's
Not going to be there though.
How do you know this?
He's
That's
because,
very
okay. I have the perfect
Yeah.
reason. What filmmakers in their right mind would make the character going away know that that's how characters end up in the story of Star Wars? That makes no sense. Why would Jon Favreau be like, hold on,
Just me,
why would
Because
Jon
he
Favreau
wants
say-
Luke doesn't mean he was there.
why would Jon
Hear me
Favreau
out.
say, why would
Okay.
Jon Favreau say, you know what? We're going to put Grogu with Luke Skywalker, knowing that 20 years down the line, all of these characters get massacred by Ben Solo.
Hold on. Okay. Why? The same reason they would make a movie about Han Solo after we just saw him get skewered on a bridge by his own
No.
son. Why would
No.
they do that?
Totally different situation.
Why is it
Totally
different?
situation.
It's different because it's Grogu. Like this
It's
is like
you're going from present to past. I'm going from present to future. It's a totally different situation.
you guys.
It's exactly
Look,
the same.
Grogu is the #1 selling Star Wars merchandise thing
And I'm going
right now.
way
Okay,
way.
so they're prioritizing money over
No, but-
storytelling.
I was going.
But the thing is, the reason why Mandalorian has brought in non-Star Wars fans to watch it is because of Grogu.
I don't
mean,
think marketing has anything to do with this. I know that. Look, they can still market. They can still market Grogu all they want. They can.
But it
Exactly.
does have to do with it because the more Grogu you bring back, the more stuff you do. And I'm not saying it's
the
just
show
about.
has to move on from him. The show
We're never
has
gonna
to
see.
move on.
We'll never see Baby Groot again. But they're still selling Baby Groot stuff all over the place. Like we'll never. There's a bunch of stuff we'll never see
The
again.
story has to
It's
move
out.
on from him. It does.
I never said he's going to come back and be as prominent as he has been in these last 2 seasons. We will see Grogu again in the Mandalorian show
I kind of hope we
before
don't.
it ends.
Jacob, you're such a bad person. Look at all these people mad at you, and for
I
your
don't care.
Jacob, hold on real quick. The Star Wars fandom tells me that, Jacob, because I disagree with you, I'm supposed to hate you.
Yeah,
Jacob,
exactly.
you're wrong.
Brian.
You're wrong.
I've always hated.
Don't give
No,
me.
I guarantee
We're gonna
you
start on
that
fandom.
we'll see Grogu again for sure. Even if it's just
Oh.
like in the last season to like show that him and Din either
That's what
connected
I-
again or ended up together.
I
That's-
don't think he'll come back. I think he'll come back in maybe the last episode or two. It'll
Yeah,
be
I
a
mean,
big
like in the-
time jump.
Like
I
right
think.
at the end of the last episode or
The
something.
I think it'll
crazy
be a
thing
massive
with
time
Grogu, the crazy thing with Grogu is that like because of his species and how he ages, he can be around 500 years from now, which is crazy. Like
I think we're going to see a time jump 500 years in the future.
What's he doing then? What's he doing here? The First Order is doing all this stuff. Why is he not involved in that? I don't know if they had that in mind when they were writing, any of that stuff. But I don't know how far back like the Mandalorian story was being developed. But yeah, that's just to me, that's one of those things. And That's a question I would have personally. I don't know. Maybe it's not that big a deal, but you just be like, well, where? It's sort of like how people are like, and not I'm not veering off into this, but like with Wonder Woman, people are like, well, she said she wasn't, she was gone. So how come all this other stuff was happening? And she, it's kind of like that sort of
To
thing.
me, I think always in Star Wars, there's so many Force users out there. We don't have to know where every Force user is and what they're all doing at the same time. Not all of them become like the Jedi Master who has to take down the evil government. Like, I think there's like dozens of Force users in the galaxy at every moment. We're not seeing what they're doing at all times.
Yeah, maybe.
And they're not all Jedi is all. But well,
Definitely.
all right. Do we all agree? Do you guys like season 2 better than season 1?
Fuck yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
and that's a good thing. Like you want it to improve, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually thought with that post-credit scene, I was having thoughts that
So were we?
The Mandalorian was going to go. Okay, the Mandalorian is going to be Boba Fett. Like that.
So Brian and I had conversations about this being the story of Din Djarin, and that was over.
Well,
and
we talked about that on our review too of the season finale.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's the first thing I thought. I was like, okay, they're going to flip the focus to Boba Fett now.
Well, John
My
Favreau
logic
said no.
was-
There's season 3 and Book of Boba Fett.
My
Right.
logic was it's being told like a book. This is a different
Makes sense.
part
A
of
different, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. 2022.
So Mando is going to come out early 2022. This is Christmas of this year. Book of Boba Fett is Christmas of this year. Mando's next year.
Oh, okay.
Let's speak on Boba Fett real quick. Motherfucker's a crime lord.
Mhm. That's crazy.
Give it to me.
I never thought I'd be so excited for a Boba Fett show, but
Same here. I've been one of those people that I've never cared about Boba Fett. But
Shame on you.
but same for me. Did this change your mind on him?
Yes, absolutely. They finally made him interesting and cool, and actually confident. Looks like he can actually do stuff.
That's because they finally gave him a chance to have a story.
Being a cartoon buffoon character, tripping or flying his rocket pack into a monster and dying in whatever.
Can you believe that's the same character?
See, that's where I was like, I'm watching this. I'm like, it's cool. I'm glad they did it, but it's like that's not the same guy from Return of the Jedi at all.
It was just luck. Han just got lucky, man. That's all.
But it's cool. It looks good, man. I'm definitely interesting. I'm glad. I like that he's like, you know what? I'm going back. And I'm going to go take over this place. I like that. I
kind of wish he didn't repaint his armor, even though it looks cool both ways.
I love that. That's what he was thinking about too. Like,
and he has a fresh set of paint in his ship. Like he was waiting for that.
Right.
He stopped at Hobby Lobby and got some new paint. Chill.
Yeah.
So
that's what the girl.
Actually, you know what? I will counter that real quick because this is me diving in super hard to like geek side of Star Wars. So if you look at his paint on his helmet specifically, there's lines on his helmet, and they're painted like a yellow orange, which is like in Mandalorian culture is the color of like vengeance and revenge. Now, after the repaint, they're actually like that more red color, which is the color of honoring my family. So there actually is meaning behind it without actually them saying it. And I know I get it. It's like wonky. I totally understand. But he's a completely different character than what he was. And they're doing it slightly by these small references in showing that he is completely someone different, starting with the armor paint. Because old Boba Fett would have never done that. New Boba Fett wants to kind of start fresh. And then also this.
So dope.
Robert Rodriguez, told you guys.
Yeah,
and
that's an amazing job.
He's executive producing that show.
Is he?
Oh, Robert Rodriguez is right. Yeah,
Cool.
And I'm sure he'll direct at least an episode again.
Did anybody see the fan film that he made with his kids?
Yeah.
No.
So when he was given the gig of Mando, before he was given anything. So he's been on record multiple times saying Boba Fett is my favorite character. Like, he's my favorite character. You can go on YouTube or online somewhere and find this, but he made essentially a pitch video with his kids, his sons, of the scene of Boba Fett fighting the stormtroopers, almost beat by beat.
Oh wow!
And he used his Star Wars action figures to shoot it with, on top of his sons in armor. And he went up to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and said, "This is what I want to make Boba Fett." And they're like, "Okay, you got the gig."
Wow, man, all these directors,
really, really cool.
They're just all friends and like, hey, can I expect?
Well, you know what's funny about this is that last year, Robert Rodriguez, while this was going on, he was on Jon Favreau's chef show on Netflix.
Yep,
he was on an episode.
Yes, he was.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And obviously, you don't put two and two together, but it was clearly around the time of Mandalorian.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys are all buddies, man.
Well, Mark Hamill said, I mean, they kept that secret for a year.
Yeah.
You know, that he was on the show.
I mean, look at Ahsoka. She was chilling in the background of that Baby Yoda photo. Freaking out that George Lucas was holding him, and then freaking Rosario Dawson's full makeup and Ahsoka behind.
I have a quick, if I may, I know we got to wrap up quickly, but so all this Mandalorian stuff, and you guys with Bo-Katan and all that stuff, the Darksaber, and is she going to challenge him, and they're going to fight and all that stuff. I found that really interesting. Like in that was that episode 3 where she showed up, or was it 4, 3 or 4? That was 4. Okay, 3. Okay, 3. Okay. Well, she was like initially, like her and the wrestler lady, what's her name? The other one, Sasha Banks, yeah. Where they're like, and the guy, like, they're just chilling with their helmets off, right? And essentially, because what they say that he is a child of
he's a child of the Watch, essentially a cult of Mandalorians,
right? Like a super hardcore, like Puritan, not Puritan.
Well, they have their own set of beliefs.
No, so she used the word. She called them extremists.
Mm-hmm. Extremists. There you go. That's the word. Yeah, right. Like, they're like devout Mandalorians, right? And they're just like, now we take our helmets off. It's all good. But now it's interesting. Now we get to the end, and he's like, "Here, take the thing," and she's like, "No." Like, they have to. Like, it's just there's the two. It kind of shifted here. Like, they're parallel. Like, they've swapped situations where now she's being like, "No, I got to uphold this traditional thing," and he's just like, "No, take it." Like, I'm just curious how that's going to work out. I don't know that they'll fight at all, because if she's willing, if she's loose enough that she'll take off her helmet, like, surely he could convince her to just take the saber. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. She can't be so hardcore that she won't take the saber.
I don't know the rules, to be honest, but I think the helmet thing is specific to that group. I don't think it's a Mandalorian rule overall.
It is. It's so.
Yeah.
So the helmet is not taking off the helmet, and it was confirmed in that episode, is a rule of Death Watch, which is from Clone Wars, and they're not known as Death Watch now. They're now known as the Tribe, which is led by the Armorer, and that is their rule. Their rule is they don't take helmets off. Period, and that's why they call them a cult. That's why they call them extremists. And when he tells them, "You're not real Mandalorians. You're taking your helmets off," and they look at each other and they said, "He's a child of the Watch," which is a sector that doesn't believe in the classical mythological aspect of the Mandalorian. So for what we know as this is the way, isn't actually the way. The real way is or Bo-Katan's way, where they're allowed to take the helmets off. But their culture for the Darksaber, the rule of the Darksaber is that you have to win it in combat. That's just like any other thing in their culture. But the helmet thing to them is nothing. They can take it off. But to the Tribe, to differentiate themselves, they can't take it off, period.
But even to him, he's like, "No, take it." Right? Like,
because he's never heard of the Darksaber, he doesn't know what the Darksaber is. And he wasn't raised in the culture that Bo-Katan was. The culture that Bo-Katan was raised in, the Darksaber is the prestige of the prestige.
But didn't what Obi-Wan gave it to Satine? Is that her name? Right? Or no?
Sabine.
Or did she? Sabine.
No.
Didn't Obi-Wan get it from?
No, so Pre
Well, I missed
Vizsla had it in the Clone Wars.
Right.
Pre Vizsla had it, and then
Okay.
Maul beat Pre Vizsla in combat, and
Didn't
Maul
Obi-Wan
had it. And then when Rebels came around, Sabine Wren found it in Maul's cave. She never actually won it in combat, and then she gave it to Bo-Katan, and Bo-Katan used it to unite her people. But Sabine had never won it in combat, which is why Bo-Katan took it from her.
Okay.
I mean, if we follow that
I got
logic,
you.
Darth Maul is the rightful owner of the saber, but I think they're saying like he's not eligible, like he's a trait, like he's not.
Technically, right now, Din won it in combat, so he's actually the rightful owner. Yeah.
Prior to that, I mean, who knows how Moff Gideon got it and all that stuff too. So.
I was gonna say, do we think he defeated?
I mean, Dave Filoni will explain it.
I kind of think that he stole it and didn't win it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Because after seeing him fight, I don't think he can beat a Mandalorian in combat.
No, he can't. And you know what? I didn't find him. That's the one thing I guess is it's not a negative. It's just a thing about that character. I didn't think he was. I was a little bit let down by him.
He's more of a political figure.
I never thought he was going to be a badass fighter. To be honest,
he is more. Yeah.
But not so much the fighting stuff. That's fine. I thought the fight scene between him and Mando was fine, but I thought it was really good. But he wasn't as. His whole thing was just like, all right, they think I'm. He just seemed like he was kind of like Thrawn, where I'm always one step ahead of everybody, and then it just turns out like, oh, they think I'm in this room. I'm actually in here talking to you, and that's basically it. He didn't really. It wasn't really a whole lot to his plan in that episode. And then I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, and then this might be a nitpick. I don't know, but I found it a little bit like, come on, like he's like, you know what? Go ahead, take the kid. That's fine. I just wanted the blood. That's all. I got it and fine. And he turns his back on him. Like Mandalorian, this character, the Mandalorian,
but Din is so immature into all this.
Din is naive in some moments, a lot of moments.
Goodness.
The pirate moment when they pushed him into the thing,
when they turned his back on this guy who has a weapon in his hand. You know he's armed. I don't know.
Well, remember the pirates from episode 3 when they pushed him into the where that beast was? Like, come on, he's gotta be. I think they've shown us that he's a little bit naive sometimes.
Sure. Yeah, I just he turned his back to the guy. Like, come on, man. But that was just a little mini thing there that I laughed at.
Yeah, for sure. Well, does anybody have any last thoughts before we get out of here?
Bring on the Book of Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, bring on Cassian Andor.
What is the first show comes out next? Is it Obi-Wan?
Bad Batch.
Okay.
And then Cassian Andor, and then Boba Fett.
No. Cassian Andor is 2 years away. Or not.
Cassian Andor is 22?
It's Bad Batch, Book of Boba.
Yeah.
And then,
does Obi-Wan have a release date? It doesn't.
Next year.
Yeah, it's just next year. Yeah.
Okay.
Bad Batch that's animated, right? Animated?
Yeah. This year is Bad Batch and Book of Boba Fett. I mean, I'm down for that too. Yeah, can't wait. Yeah. Cannot wait.
And I didn't get to super fast. I didn't get to mention this because I wasn't on that show. My favorite, Rogue Squadron. That's my thing. I'm super excited about that. That's my number one thing out of all those announcements. Rogue Squadron is my number one. That's my favorite Star Wars video game of all time, and I can't wait.
There's so many good things. The Acolyte, freaking Anakin coming back.
Yes.
So many.
Here's your order: Bad Batch, Visions, which is the anime, Boba Fett, Andor, Kenobi, Mandalorian 3, Acolyte, Rangers, Ahsoka, Rogue Squadron, A Droid Story. Those are all TBA.
Damn. That's going to be crazy. Well, we got a lot more Star Wars to enjoy, and good for the Mandalorian Club, right? We got a ton of content and more t-shirts for Jake to make. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of Apocalypse Now. Thank you for joining us on our spoiler review of Soul and our spoiler review of The Mandalorian Season 2. So glad to get Keith back on the show with us. Looking forward to talking some more movies with you, Keith, and TV shows, as it seems. Again, thanks for watching. I'm Jacob. For Keith, Gio, Brian, and Jake, we will see you all next time.